There's a lot happening in the Blink-182 camp right now, with the band recently releasing their new single, Blame It On My Youth, as well as announcing their tour with Lil Wayne over this upcoming summer. But it's what's happening with Tom DeLonge that is really captivating fans, in which Tom has said now twice that he plans on returning to Blink-182 in the future, but he just released some very interesting details on the happenings behind the scenes with Blink-182 in a new interview with a California radio station. In a new interview, Tom DeLonge held nothing back when speaking on the status of his relationship with Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker, his former Blink-182 bandmates. And we now know that things are closer than they've ever been before when it comes to Tom DeLonge reuniting with this former band. Now, last week, we had previously reported that Tom DeLonge said that he had plans to eventually reunite with Blink-182 in the future. And evidently, that got conversations going between the trio. Now to the new information. In an interview on San Diego's 91X, DeLonge says he is still good friends with his old bandmates, and that, quote, "We still support each other," before talking about last week's comments. "Yes, everybody, I will play with Blink again." That's the whole plan. I talk to Travis all the time, and I talked to Mark just the other day. We're always discussing what makes sense and when. When I was starting all this stuff, working with people who were in the government, I couldn't tell those guys. So they didn't know, and that was one of the reasons why they were so upset, I think. I remember saying, if anyone just knew the enormity of what I'm putting together right now, if they had any concept that for the first time in the history of mankind, I created a mechanism to have the conversation. But that's not the only thing. As this Twitter user noted, Tom DeLonge has followed Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker on Instagram, and Tom replied to Mark's comment on his recent post in classic Tom fashion. As you can see, responding to a dare on Twitter, Mark Hoppus was told to comment on Tom's Instagram saying, "I love you and I always will," to which he did without hesitation. As we've seen more often than not, these things tend to work themselves out, with the original or classic lineup, I should say, returning to form. As long as there is a demand from the fans, there's certainly a major incentive for musicians to work it out. We saw it with Motley Crue. We've seen it with countless other bands where they get in a room together, no matter how tense things may be, and it doesn't seem like that's the case here, but no matter how tense things may be, they find a way to make it work, and that's what's inevitably going to happen with Blink-182 here. And I promise you, mark my words, when Blink-182 announces that Tom is back in the band, they're going to go on this huge landmark tour that's going to sell like hotcakes, and everybody is going to win in that scenario. And the best part about it is Blink-182 to this day, without Tom, is still selling like hotcakes. They're a very popular band. They're a very talented band. And no matter whether or not you're feeling their new music, you're going to love their hits, of which there are a plethora. So Blink-182 is in a very strong position here, and really there's nothing for anybody involved to be bummed. Tom's doing what he loves, they're doing what they love, and everybody wins. So hey, look, that's all for now. Thanks so much for joining us here today at Rockfeed. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking hard rock and heavy metal news. Thanks so much for joining us here today, and we'll see you all very soon.